So you may have noticed the dollar has gotten a lot stronger on the international scene. Now, it may not feel that way because inflation is high and everything is costing more. But when it comes to comparison to other currencies, the dollar's gotten about 25% stronger. You can see with this chart here, there's a scoring system. It was about 92 a year ago. Now it's 115. So there is this flight to safety to the dollar right now, and there's a way that you can take advantage of it because it really does affect precious metals, travel, other things, things that you invest in, things that you're doing. We're going to go over this and how you can take advantage of it in 3 easy steps. We've got a great quote for you at the end, so stick around. All right, so as we jump in here, just a reminder, I am not your investment advisor. Seek your own investment advice from other folks that are licensed to do this. I'm just giving my opinion. This is all educational. But the question is, why is the dollar getting stronger? Like, what is the reason for that? Well, like I mentioned, there's this flight to safety. When things happen that are tough, we have high inflation, really high inflation in Europe and other parts of the world. There's this flight to safety, and the best worst option out there, I guess, is the US dollar. It's not perfect. I feel like we're printing so much money. It's just ironic. Jay Powell, we've been printing so much, creating so much currency over a 2-year period. 40% new currency, either created digitally or physically. And so yet we're printing all this currency, yet the dollar is getting stronger. So what does that mean? Like, what does that mean as an investor? What does that mean for our economy? For our economy, it really means a couple things. One is that it hurts and it helps us. What I mean by that is that it hurts our economy in some ways because when we create goods and we send them overseas, we export them, there's less demand for it. They're more expensive. So if we make widgets here, we send them over, they're 25% or more expensive in another country than they were just even a year ago. So that's more challenging when we're trying to export goods. Now when we're importing things here, things get cheaper. So there's a way you can actually take advantage of it. So it does a combination of hurting and helping. So we're gonna get into how to actually take advantage of a strong dollar. All right, so how can you take advantage of a strong dollar? I feel like this is a short window. We've got a short amount of time where this kind of thing that's going on right now where the dollar's super strong, even though we're creating all this currency, it's a short window. So I'm gonna just kind of talk about a couple things that I think are really something to consider. So one thing that I love are precious metals. I love gold and silver. I really didn't get it up till a few years ago. I have friends that just are real estate people and they're like, I don't really get it. Why would you want to do precious metals? And I want to share this with you. A lot of people don't really understand this, but there's a 5,000-year history of metals being actual money or being currency. And actually up until 1933, you could take a $20 bill and you could take it in, on the bill itself, it said payable to the bearer on demand in gold. So you could take this and you would exchange it for 1 ounce of gold. So again, what really was the money? The gold was the money. The paper was just simply a claim check on the money. A lot of people don't understand that, right? That this is not actually what money is. This has no intrinsic value. We're seeing these be worth less and less. What does $20 buy you? It used to buy, a pretty good meal maybe for a family of 4. Now it doesn't really, hardly buys a meal for 1, right? And that's because they're creating more and more of these. You can't just print and create more and more of these, right? These are, whether it's silver or gold, they're things that actually come out of the ground that takes effort to be able to get. So what they really are is that they are they are a store of value, and I believe they are an inflation hedge. The reason why is because you can't create more. There's a certain number of limited things that are there. Now there's also another strategy my friend Russell Gray talks about, and he calls it the precious equity strategy. So what you do is you buy gold and silver. Now typically we don't buy nuggets like this, so this is actually a stress ball nugget, but you don't buy nuggets, you buy coins usually. You'll buy coins, have them shipped to a third-party vault. There's a place outside of Las Vegas called TDS Vaults, and they will store them for you for a small fee. And then you can borrow against the value of your gold and silver at 75% loan to value. That means if you have 100K worth of metals there, you can borrow 75,000 in dollars, and you're paying like 6.5% or so, and it's like a HELOC. So you only use it for the days that it's out and you put it back in. So what the advantage of this is that you have an inflation hedge that you can borrow against, and you only use it the days that you need it, and it's basically a store of value in a better way than dollars is. And I think there's gonna come a point where people are gonna say, you know what, I've got, in real estate maybe down a little bit, my stock market portfolio is down, crypto's crashed through the floor. Where do I put money? Where do I put my resources where they're not gonna be eaten away? So right now, some people that are really skeptical of metals have said, metals are down the last 2 years, which is true. If you look at what today is, around $1,644 per ounce of gold, A couple of years ago, we were at about 2,000. So it's come down a bit. So why is that? So you look at, we're now about 15% kind of from the height. Well, in gold and euros for the year, gold is up 10% in euros, and it's like this in other currencies as well. So again, we have that 25%. The dollar gets stronger. It doesn't mean that gold has come down on an international scale. It just simply means the dollar has gotten stronger. So I think it's a great buying opportunity for gold and silver. So something to consider, something to take advantage of. I have some other videos on this channel that you can check out about gold and silver. Highly recommend you check it out. I'm going to share something in a little bit toward the end just about how you can take advantage of that. The other thing I would say is to really look at travel. If you're a traveler, if you're an American, I'm actually going on several international trips coming up. I'm going to Patagonia, Chile later this month, Barcelona next year, and Belize. And right now, everything is cheaper. The travel is cheaper. I got a flight direct to Barcelona from LA for $500, but I thought it was crazy. The exchange rate when it comes to hotels and food, even going to Canada, I've got a Canada trip coming up, and the US dollar to the euro or the US dollar to Canadian. Awesome, awesome, awesome. It's a great time to book travel right now. You get a discount just by booking it because of the currency, which is pretty great. Another thing is really when it comes to buying stuff, if you need to buy stuff, maybe you don't have your food pantry set up, buy a bunch of food right now, store it up, household goods, appliances. I just bought a chest freezer. Buying things that you feel that you're gonna need, I think it's a good time to buy them now, and especially things that are imported, anything that's made another place. Now there's some supply chain stuff going on still, but I still think it's a great reason to buy stuff now because the dollar is very strong. So we're experiencing inflation, but not like other parts of the world. So the question everybody always wonders is, what is coming next, right? What is actually the next in all of this? Well, Brent Johnson, he's a guy who talks about the economy. If you haven't followed him, he has this idea of the dollar milkshake theory. And what he means by that is that typically in times of challenge or struggle or chaos, the dollar tends to kind of rise to the top, right? So it's like this milkshake, the dollar just kind of keeps rising to the top. And that's what we're really seeing is the dollar is getting stronger. So that's kind of follow the path that he's talked about. Now, the Fed is tightening at some point, and we've talked about this in other videos, that they're gonna have to reverse course. My friend Jeff Clark with goldsilver.com, he talks about this. He had an email that came out that talked about somewhere between 5 and 13 months or 6 to 12 months. Typically, the Fed, after they start tightening, which they started tightening rates, as everybody knows, in March, well, we're coming on, it's been over 6 months, and it's coming 6 and 12 months, is typically around, the average is about 5 months, actually, so we're actually above the average and when they actually start cutting rates. But the longest is about 13 months. So we're kind of on track that in the next few months, they may have to start reversing course, even though they keep raising rates. So this will eventually lead to a weaker dollar. So the dollar will tighten for a while. They can actually take steps to create more or try to devalue the currency to try to weaken it because eventually they don't want the dollar to get too strong because again, that hurts the economy in certain ways. So it's something I feel like we have a short window here. So there's an incentive for the government to actually weaken the dollar because it helps with exports. It also will help with the debt, right? If they can weaken the dollar and particularly lowering the interest rate, we have this massive, $30 trillion of debt plus all these unfunded liabilities. If they can devalue the dollar, it allows them to kind of take advantage of that as well. So how can you take advantage of it? Kind of a summary here is buy goods, buy things that you know you'll need, use the dollar, get out and travel, invest in things like metals, invest in things that are valuable. I love even real estate and other things locally, but on an international scale, there are things that are traded internationally, such as travel, international goods and precious metals. Those are ways to take advantage of it. So I wanted to know your thoughts, maybe stick that in the comment. What do you think is gonna happen? I would love to know from you. Here's a quote I want to share with you. This comes from Voltaire, the French leader, back in the 1700s. And he said this, he said, paper money eventually returns to its intrinsic value, zero. And Voltaire, he died in 1778, and they had a currency crisis right before he died. So again, paper money, this kind of stuff will eventually all go to zero. Every single paper currency has gone to zero. If you're not familiar with precious metals, if you're like me a few years ago and you said, man, I just would love to learn more about it, check out this panel we did about precious metals. I think you'll really enjoy it. A few friends of mine and we got on to talk about what it looks like to start investing in metals, what the case for it is, how you can get started in that. And then if you haven't downloaded our ebook, which is how to use inflation to your advantage, and that's what we're talking about here, right? How do you actually use a strong dollar? How do you use inflation to make it your friend rather than just feeling the pain at the pump or feeling the pain when you buy goods on Amazon or go to the store? So check out that. That's going to be in the description below, but we'll look forward to seeing you on the next video.